Hi, fellow traders. Well, we're off and running on a new week, but mine started running in the wrong direction. Um, can't figure that out. But you guys that's been with me for a while, you would think, especially back in the beginning, I would look like the guy in these pictures. This is what you would see or feel if, I had the kind of day that I had today back a couple years ago. And as you know, I'm an emotional person, and that's been my demon for and something that I've had to try to work on over the last several years. Um, and a lot of it started with the pressure of the chat room. Forcing myself to take trades and getting frustrated at myself, knowing better, and just trying to push the envelope when I shouldn't. And so over the last couple of years, you've seen this happen with me further and further between. Now, in last year, we could look at last year, and I should have pulled up my equity curve from last year. But you could look at it and you could see the difference in how my equity curve looked last year. I had these big dips. And if you remember the from the last week, I've showed it a couple times last week, the equity curve. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick here. But when you have that equity curve that just keeps hitting break even. All right, it just keeps hitting break even. And you get these deep pullbacks. You get nice moves up, and you get these deep pullbacks. And what we're trying to get is that. But we're wondering what's happening at these deep pullbacks. And what I didn't illustrate is the guys that are moving up. And if you look at my equity curve last year, I had some deep pullbacks over as I was going up. And every time we hit these deep pullbacks, there's something emotional that's causing it. It's not the normal market fluctuation. If we had normal market fluctuation, we would see little dips like this. And these are normal. But 90% of all of these big dips that we get, whether our equity curve is going up, whether it's sideways or whether it's going down, is a result of emotions. Either we get happy because we're there, and then we get a big loss, and then we lose it. And then we get happy, and then we have a little loss or two, and then we lose it. And it's all mental. It's all about execution. It's about executing the same way every time and kind of avoiding this type of outbreak. So what I do now is I'll take a walk, or just I find something to do to take my mind off of this and to keep my emotions in check. I've got two computers that hard drives are destroyed because I slapped the keypad. Well, not the keypad, but this part right here. And this is where the hard drive is. I didn't know that. After the second one, I knew. But, all of these things are our emotions coming out. And it all boils down to worrying about whether you're right or wrong. And that's the wrong way to look at this. Trading, the bottom line, you're going to lose. You don't know when you're going to lose. You don't know how many times you're going to lose in a row. There's no way to predict it. And people that go crazy are the ones that try to predict when they're going to have a losing trade so that they don't trade. That doesn't work. And 90% of our losses are trader error. It's either we didn't follow the strategy by getting in too late, by chasing, by anticipating. And all of these errors are caused by not wanting to be wrong, not wanting to lose money, not wanting to miss out on a big trade. And I could pinpoint it every time I commit one of these errors. I know why I did it. I know what I was thinking. I know the emotions that came through. And so, I feel like I've crossed the obstacle, and I'm starting to rappel down the backside to where I don't care whether I'm right or wrong. I don't care whether the trade is a winner or not. I don't care how many losers in a row I get, because I know at the end of the week, and if not the end of the week, at the end of the month, I'm going to put money in the bank. Whether it's a lot or whether it's, a medial amount, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that my equity curve is consistently going up, regardless of whether I have 2, 3, 4 losing trades in a row. It doesn't matter. I know the strategy works. I know most of the times it doesn't. It's my error in either trade planning or execution, which is part of execution. So I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm not worried about whether I'm right or wrong, whether you guys see me make money or lose money or whatever, because you're here to learn the full spectrum of trading, and that's what I want to get across to you guys, the full spectrum. So, we can continue to hold on to this thing about being right or wrong. And another thing, all the analysis in the world is not going to make you any money. It's not going to make you any more right or any more wrong. Analysis has its place, but you can go overboard. You can analyze so much that you try to define the risk out of your trade to where you feel like there's no risk in you taking the trade. And then when you lose, that's a big emotional hit. But if you don't care whether that particular trade makes money or loses money, then it's not going to affect you a certain way. And then you could just get back at it and bring your day around. And that's what it's all about. All right, so let's look at the day. We got what we were looking for. I was looking for the 50 to hold. I was looking for a little gap up and a test of the 20. And I honestly felt, looking at this morning, that we were going to go through that 20. I really did. But it rejected there, and we kind of had one of these indecision days. So I'm not really sure what to think about tomorrow. I'm really not sure. This is one of these, when you analyze this thing technically, yeah, we closed above the 5-day, which is the most aggressive momentum indicator that we have, and we closed above it. We're below the 20. We closed green on the day. Everything kind of points toward a strong day tomorrow. But the bulls really didn't look as good as they did back here. They did not look as good as they did back here. They didn't look good this day. They sure didn't look good today. So that's where my reservation comes in. But we're just going to have to sit back and watch and, see where we go with this. So tomorrow, I think it's going to be a really interesting day. So here was the train wreck this morning. And it wasn't that I did anything wrong. This is a trade that just didn't work. And you guys saw it when I got in the trade. And as soon as this candle opened and we saw what happened, I was speechless when I saw the buying that came in here. I mean, it was just like somebody cut a light switch on and this thing started going. So I've seen this before, and we didn't quite take out the high of this candle. This candle opened up here. We did push up a little bit, but then we sold off and came back and touched the opening range high. Then this candle opened, and once we got over the 9 and everything, I went ahead and took it off. It was just, I was at max pain. Once we broke the high of this candle, we were over the VWAP and we were over the 9. Technically, to me, this was a done deal. Now, it did go up and retest the 20, and we got a rejection here. Here, this candle closed below the VWAP and the 9, and we tested resistance. This is a classic trend continuation setup here. And there was enough room for me that if it did get stuck here, I'd be able to take profit. And then, reset again. So I didn't have any issue getting in here, looking for it to move down through here, or even if it came down and tested the bottom of this channel it put in. So I felt it was earlier in the day, right after 10 o'clock. I thought we had enough volatility, but there were no sellers. I mean, they just went to lunch. And I let it work. You could see how it worked. It was working. There was a lot of indecision, a lot of choppiness going back and forth. And we got this nice sell candle. And then this candle opened and it sold and it made a lower low. And I thought, well, hey, maybe we'll get to here and I will take profit around 79.25, 79.30. I think I had an order in for 79.30. I can't remember if I had put it in or not, but that's what I was looking for. And it just turned right back around. And, I couldn't watch anymore. I was starting to get that feeling. After about 30 minutes of this, I just put in the max loss stop and walked away from it and went and started doing some things. And I had a lot of things I needed to get done today. And so it just didn't work. Both of these, execution wise, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I didn't anticipate. I waited. The entries were dead on. It just didn't work. Both of these trades just didn't work. If there was anything that I felt I did wrong, was I wasn't paying attention to how much I was risking on this. And I typically do this in my other accounts, but what I'm trying to do in this account that I'm streaming is most of you, or 95% of you, are not at this point where you could trade this way. You've got to have a max loss. What's your maximum that you're willing to lose on a trade, waiting for it to work itself out? If by chance the technicals don't break down and it gets to a certain point where you just can't take any more loss. And so, that's the only thing that I didn't do here. I was just trading, natural. And so, I'm sorry for that. I should have done, caught myself on that. But like I said, my mind was elsewhere. So not a good day to start the week off. But what I want you to see, it doesn't matter. Okay, we had a red day today. Fine. If we have one tomorrow, fine. I know eventually this thing is going to work out. Over the course of 30 days, things are going to be, I should be green. Now, if I go through a month and I'm not green, I go through another month, I'm not green, then I'm going to start looking at my strategy and saying, hey, this strategy is probably compromised and we need to change some things. It may happen before then, based on how consistent my execution is. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my execution is consistent, I can pinpoint, when I'm going to make a trade. As long as my exe strategy issues. But if I'm all over the place with my entries and my exits, I can't pinpoint anything. So that's why it's important to execute consistently every time. All right, so Apple, this is one I was doing, and I said earlier that this would be a good one for an all-day hold. I was looking to hold this for overnight, but really, I was looking for a move back up towards 120 over the next couple of days. This wasn't a stock on our watch list. This is one I just did in TD Ameritrade. These are the last days of the beta test. So I wanted to get a trade off, and I kind of liked the way this was setting up. But unfortunately, it took out lower day. I got in and I used lower day as my stop because I couldn't use 110 over here. This was the low of Friday. No way I was using that. So I used the low of the day. And 9 times out of 10, if a stock is going to be strong, it's not going to take out lower day. If you look at Apple, this thing ran up to around 116 going into the close. So it did come back. It did make the strong move I was looking for. Unfortunately, and this is just an unfortunate circumstance, I think it's still around 116. This was just an unfortunate circumstance. You don't see this. You can look at Boeing. You can look at Roku. You can look at Overstock. All of these stocks, they didn't have a deep pullback like this. You know, it just so happens that Apple did, and it caught my stop. But, you know, that was that. But that was only, you know, a couple $100. I didn't have much risk on this. Like I said, I'm still trying out the beta test on this. I think they about got it licked. So hopefully it's going to be offered full. The test is supposed to be over with tomorrow. So we'll see what happens after that. NKE was one of the swings I got in right off our watch list yesterday. So it did pretty good. But they all kind of hung around the entry. They didn't really take off. Just like the market didn't really take off, and it kind of hung around. NKE did too, and Z did as well. So, you know, both of these I'm still holding on to, and we'll see. The other one I had, NKTI. What's the other one? I'm going crazy here. I can't remember. I can't remember. Let me log in and see. But all of those kind of pretty much did the same thing all day. NXPI. All of those pretty much did the same thing. They practically closed around where they opened. Didn't really make a whole lot of noise today. So we'll be looking tomorrow to see if the market can stay strong, if the bulls can rally a little bit better, and, you know, put us where we need to be. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. We're going to come back tomorrow. Fresh new outlook. You know, we're not going to bring baggage from the previous day. And we're going to do the same thing all over again. You know, win, lose, or draw. Not going to worry about whether the trades are winners or whatever. All the analysis we do prior to the market open. And we just come in and trade. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. And looking for these swings to, you know, make some noise going into the end of the week. NKE has earnings next week. So I'm kind of looking for it to make a move up to around 125 to 130 going into next week. Z, I think, can hit 100. But time will tell. So you guys have a great night, and I will catch you in the morning.